Good afternoon. Today is Friday, May the 29th. Hope you all had a great trading day as well as a great trading week. The Dow Jones closed above 51,000 for the first time in history, up about 0.75%. The SPX closed at 7,580, up about 0.25%. We have also had 9 consecutive winning weeks here on the S&P 500. The Nasdaq closed at 26,972, up about 8% for the month of May alone. As far as the Russell 2000, a little bit down today, down about 0.5% to 2,919. And it was the only red index for the day. So we have 3 indices at or near records. The Russell, still up at the highs and at the records, but a little bit left behind today. And that's kind of been the story for 2026. Now, if Snowflake owned yesterday, Dell definitely wins today, up over 30% on the session. Its best day in its history. Its Q1 earnings came in at $4.86 versus $3 expected. Revenues hit $43.8 billion, which is up 88% year over year against estimates of $35.7 billion. The AI server revenue alone was $16.1 billion, which is up 757% from a year ago. The backlog for AI servers sits at $51.3 billion, and they raised full year revenue guidance to $167 billion, which is a 47% growth and $25 billion above what Wall Street had. And you know what? If we look at Dell for the year, it is up over 200% on the year. It's the picks and shovels play for AI. Every hyperscaler building out data centers is pretty much buying Dell servers. Between this and Snowflake yesterday, Micron on Monday, the AI spending thesis pretty much got confirmed 3 times this week. So pretty amazing stuff here on Dell and just AI in general. Now, when we compare the Russell 2000 and the SPX, one thing that I want to talk about is, while mega cap tech rips, we did have a little bit of divergence today with the small caps dropping about 1% on the day. It closed down about 0.5%. That could be a little bit of a warning flag, but nothing too serious. Nothing is really broken on this chart. The one thing that I do want to discuss here is that over 40% of Russell 2000 companies are unprofitable companies. About 32% of their debt is with a floating rate. Compare that to 6% for the S&P 500 companies. And we had yesterday's PCE print pretty much pushing rate cut further out. And these are the companies that need lower interest rates the most. And there's a 1.3 trillion debt maturity wall coming in. These companies have to refinance rates nowhere close to what they locked in years ago. And that type of market could split in two. If you're an AI server company, yeah, life is absolutely fantastic. But if you're a small cap borrower waiting for rate relief, yeah, it's not going to come. On to a little bit of news today, and that's going to be turning our attention to crude oil. Trump posted on True Social this morning that he is heading into the Situation Room to make a final determination on Iran. Iranian state media pushed back, saying that some of Trump's conditions contradicts the agreement text. So there's still that gap, but the market is trading in the direction, not the details. If we look at crude oil here, down again on the session, down for the week. It was down 1.28% on the session. Treasuries, on the other hand, had their best week since the war even started. If we look at the 10-year yield, we can see that is down below 4.5% now, down 9 to 12 basis points in 1 week. So if the Iran situation actually resolves the oil unwind and bond rally, could have further room to run, but that is a big if. If we want to talk about the weekend review, of course we have to talk about ILMU. Even though it was a short week, we got some incredible big moves. ILMU hit $1 trillion market cap on Monday. Semiconductors had a pretty interesting day on Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we had that flip there on Tuesday where semiconductors were pretty strong, and then we got that rotation out into some of those defensive names. Yeah, so it was just a classic rotation. On Thursday, Snowflake reported their earnings, and Snowflake blew up nearly 37%. And then, of course, Dell won today's story, up 30% today. The PCE came in hot, but whatever. The theme all week has been AI infrastructure, and that is absolutely winning. We've had 3 separate earnings confirming that, and the S&P has gained 9 straight weeks altogether. The Dow broke 51,000. The Nasdaq gained 8% in May, and bonds rallied as Iran deal optimism is being built. So a lot of stuff happened in this short week. Let's move on to our volume profile session here. All right, so here is the SPY intraday chart. This is on a 5-minute chart, but what I want to discuss is both the SPY and the QQQ both printed D-shaped profiles for today, as highlighted like so, where most of the volume is contained in this broad range here. Tight, balanced digestion after yesterday's breakout move, and today's value area on the SPY is between 750, 735 and 750, about 756. So just a little over $1 wide, and that is compression. If we look at Tuesday's volume profile and compare that with today's, you can see how we had that nice coil here on Tuesday. We had double compression on Wednesday, and we pretty much had that on today. Of course, yesterday we had that big move to the outside, so we could be setting up for another big move here. And this week's pattern was pretty much textbook compression, compression here, and then that energy is released. So yeah, that's pretty great educational stuff there with that P-shape volume profile on Thursday. And we've also had 7 straight higher point of control migrations, as highlighted like so. And there's that one, and then there's that one. So all in all, we've had absolutely bullishness throughout this week, even though some of those were minor higher pushes on points of control. Of course, we got that expansion on Thursday, and we got that expansion again on Friday, confirming that the market remains bullish. If we turn our attention to the QQQ, we can see the same situation happening here at the beginning of the week, where we had a little bit of compression, some compression, range expansion. You also had that point of control migration higher throughout the week. And again, today you have that same style of compression, although this one seems to be a little bit tighter than the SPY, between 739 and 737. So it's still about a $2 wide compression, but we're still overall bullish for next week going into Monday. If we do get a move above 739.30, my target would be up here towards about 742. And then above that, it is clear blue skies. But if we happen to start to break down below 735 here on the NASDAQ, we could see a quick move down to fill in this thin profile here. But again, I'm overall bullish going into next week. There's hasn't been much of a reason to not be bullish out in right now, at least. So the question going into Monday is whether today's D-shaped profiles on the SPY and the QQQ is just another coil like we had Tuesday and Wednesday before Thursday's breakout, or if it's just exhaustion at the highs. So Monday's profile shape is probably should answer that. Another P-shaped, of course, is going to be another continuation, but if we get a little bit of a B-shaped, of course, that would be bearish, because that means price quickly moved down, and then we built acceptance down here. So that's something that I'm going to be paying attention to on Monday. But yeah, that's the week. 9 straight up new highs, AI earnings confirming the thesis, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.